Hey guys, welcome to Green Bean Fiction. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku became Doma and fell for Kanae? This story is What is Love? Just a Chance of Emotion by Big Boy Eisen 125. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button, as your one like motivates me to bring more stories, and subscribe the channel if you are new so you won't miss our latest videos. A child looked down at the lake with lifeless rainbow eyes. The water was so free with movement and sparkles of life. Every splash has an emotion to it. He felt the water with his hand. So still and quiet, yet smooth and clear. He wanted to be like that, free from the chains placed upon him by some cruel deity. He wanted to be as calm as the water and yet as deadly as a tsunami. He wanted to be a hero, yet he had no motivation to do so. He tried to grab and hold the water. It just escaped. He enjoyed that, having some freedom from what his past has done. To him, this was the most fun he had had in a while. He didn't notice a man looking at him with pity. A child finding something fun in years with water. Just by grabbing it, he felt like having a great time. He remembers that feeling when he was stuck with that disease. How people would look at him. Remembering Kagaya always being by his side and telling him stories of the outside world. It was relaxing and the only reason why he is left of their family. So he decided to walk towards him as the words of his brother run through his mind. Children are to be guided to a path that makes the future. If no one is there for their guidance, then there is no future. But also, it must he lonely Nisan. That's why I will come here and tell you everything that happens. I think I found something that can cure you too. Happiness. He sat by the boy and saw his eyes sparkle in joy with every time he tried to grab the water, yet oblivious to the man next to him. A small smile grew on his face. The man grabbed a small pebble and threw it into the water, getting 6 bounces. He saw the child's eyes sparkle with even more joy. His eyes went to him, as he seemed to question to speak to him. Hello. The red-eyed man said to him. The boy grabbed a pebble and did what he did. It didn't work, and that seemed to make him enjoy it. He likes a challenge then. The man thought, seeing him pout. Mister, how did you do it? He said to him, and he smiled. He grabbed another and showed him his form. The boy looked on with anticipation, as he threw it. I got the same results as last time. Do you see how to do it? The boy nodded and tried to do it. The man could only think kawaii when he saw his attempts. I never got your name. What's yours? Izuku ya. He stopped when he was about to say his last name. The man was far from stupid and knew what this meant. He knew something was up. And he recognized those last 2 letters. Quirkless. Izuku looked shocked for a moment. He knew already. Now he will just hate him. Let me guess. Are your parents neglectful or abusive? Both, maybe. Izuku didn't want to answer, and that was all the confirmation he needed. A natural reaction to these things is to not say anything, which usually means yes. My name is Muzan Kibutsuji. He finally said his name as he pulled the kid into a hug. I understand that feeling of yours. When you have nothing but loneliness. He told the kid, who stayed quiet. Do you still want to be a hero? Heroes are people with quirks. Not people like me. Izuku spoke with sadness. He felt this emotion more than others, more often than he should. And who told you a hero is someone with a quirk? Do soldiers of the World War I and II not count? People who have sacrificed everything to save others. People who inspire you to do better not count. Muzan spoke about people being around for. He was old enough to be alive during those times. Izuku didn't respond, and Muzan patted his back before smiling. Do you want to be a hero? I can give you a chance with power. Izuku looked shocked at him and slowly nodded his head. He didn't trust the stranger. Do you want to get away from them all? How can I trust you? Izuku asked seriously, and Muzan's nails became like claws and struck him. The boy was shocked at this. Yet he felt just a little bit of pain. In the past, this made people suffer before getting power. I found a way to make it less painful. Muzan said with a smile. Izuku was confused as his eyes grew heavy, and soon, his consciousness faded. Muzan picked Izuku up and disappeared. He knew that the drawbacks would happen soon. It's just time for him to get used to his new self. Kagaya Pav. I'm just at my base watching my children train. Well, most of them. Tengen, Rengoku, and Mitsuri were taking a break and eating some bentos. Yumai. I chuckled at this. always the same reaction. I turned my head to see a surprisingly cute sight. Kokushibo was trying to figure out the bird types with Muichiro and the shapes of the clouds. Well, they are related. I believe I heard that they are father and son. I know how old Kokushibo is, but I thought we were younger. He and Yorichi still look 17. What's that one? Muichiro asked as he looked at a dove. I could see the frustration on Kokushibo's face. His 6 eyes twitching in anger. It's a. He trailed off as he got out his phone and checked it. Dove, wait, there is not common here. Maybe migration, Muichiro said, and I could only chuckle. The last thing I need is to see Muzan bring in a child. Why do I feel like a jinx that? Suddenly, the door opened, revealing Muzan with a child. Another child, after he brought in Akaza, Daki, and Gyutaro like this. I smiled gently at Muzan as he walked towards me, another child. Which is he? I asked him, and he smirked. 2. Now I didn't want to shout, but 2, I know what he means as well. This means he has some serious potential. Maybe he will be like Kokushibo, who is part of both groups. Impressive. What's his name? I ask as I see his face. Now, some might say I'm blind but I don't have a curse. Don't know why people think that. Well, his name is Izuku Yagi. Why do I feel like he read his memories after he turned him? Yagi, isn't that All Might's last name? How come we have never heard of his son? I asked, as I knew him. It's because he tried to get his daughter trained by Yorichi. I have never seen someone fly without a quirk, but I did. Neglected. Turns out number 1 is even more stupid than we thought. Muzan said with a sigh. I do have to agree with that. That hero is just all about showing off. Well, do I finally have a nephew? I asked cheekily, and he glared at me. I have always pestered him about children, and yet he never bothers. Ray would kill me if that was true. She already hates the fact that we train kids at this age. Muzan seems down as always. Ray is a very kind woman, and I doubt she actually hates having a kid. Well, call her, she what she thinks. I reasoned with him, and he gave me a look that said he did. What did she say? Nothing. He has a blush on his cheeks. I need to know more. She said it was fine, nothing else. She said yes about adopting him, didn't she? He did respond, and I chuckled. Muzan, surprisingly, doesn't understand women much. I just love teasing him about that. Do you think he would want to be in our family? Muzan asked me. He seemed fond of the boy. I still remember the days he would, accidentally, kill people. Well, it matters how bad his past family was. I told him as things like that can easily push a decision to be made. You already know how bad he was treated. You have seen his memories, after all. He nodded before a groan was heard. We both looked down at the sleeping blonde waking up. You my. Of course, the others were found their own thing. How flamboyant of you, Tengen shouted at Rengoku. Seems they're having fun. No one pav. Izuku slowly opened his eyes and looked around. The Michael Jackson man was still there and a new guy. We're the family or something. We are brothers. Izuku looked at Muzan for a few seconds before nodding. Did you read my mind? Yes, I can read your thoughts. I can also see your memories. He said to him with a smile. Izuku, naturally, is kind of freaked out, but was calm about it. So Izuku, what do you want to do? You have new powers, so do you want to be trained to use them? Powers, like a quirk, he asked with zero care, and Kaguya smiled gently. Something far beyond quirks. You are now a demon. He said like it was normal. Izuku didn't seem to care again but went with it. He actually felt relieved that he was further from them. Do you mean I become part of a new family? We are all family here. We train, grow, and fight together. My name is Kaguya Ubuyashiki. You probably know us from the hero agencies, the Kazuki and Demon Slayers. Kaguya told him as Izuku nodded. The door opened, and out came a woman who ran at Muzan. Is this him? She said to him with an anxious smile. He simply nodded at her, and she grabbed Izuku's face. He is so cute. Look at his eyes. You're definitely beyond special, she continued as the other two just looked on. Izuku didn't give a reaction, but they both knew he wanted to be saved. Ray, I think he needs some air. Kaguya told her with a chuckle. She blinked before letting him go but encased him in a hug. So Izuku, What's your choice? Would you want me and Rei as your new parents? Muzan simply told him, and he just stared in confusion. Like the word parents was foreign to him. He slowly nodded. Well then. I'll go and talk to an old friend to get it sorted. From now on, your name is Izuku Kibutsuji. Rei said with a very happy smile. Izuku, though, didn't like his names. Izuku and Yagi were two things he hated more than anything. Izuku sounded too close to his sister's name, and Yagi belonged to the people he hated. Hate was something he made up for himself, but he thought it worked. Can you call me something else? He asked, and she looked shocked, but Muzan got why. What about Doma? Rei said out loud, and Izuku seemed pleased with it. I guess Doma, Muzan said out loud before going to make a phone call. He left Izuku to his new mother's relentless love. He couldn't feel it, yet it seemed like that. Doma was soon let out. He decided to wander around and notice people practicing with their swords, most anyway, Yumai. He looked over at the noise and saw a kid his age, eating a bento, while saying it was delicious with every bite. He walked up to him and tapped his shoulder. He didn't get a response and decided to say one thing, Yumai. The kid stopped and looked up. He smiled and nodded. Doma just stood there as the fire-haired kid swallowed his food. It was a long, awkward silence before something spoke again. It's someone new. How flamboyant that someone else joins us. A white-haired kid said from behind him. Doma wasn't shocked and looked at him. He decided to be himself. Era. Izuku said with a grin, sneaking behind someone is not very flamboyant. He said with a smirk. The white-haired boy just smiled and gave a hand. Name's Tenon Uzui. Nice to meet you. Doma Kibutsuji. Doma told him with a little smile at the new name. You're Doma. Our crows already told us about you. Tengen said with happiness. You're already the third strongest demon, and you haven't even trained. You're super flamboyant. Era, Uzui-san. You're going to make me blush. Izuku said jokingly, and the other kid decided to get involved. Name's Kyojuro Rengoku. Please just call me Kyojuro. He said with lots of energy and with a smile that matched past Izuku's in power. Izuku's eyes slightly widened as he saw a smile like that. A memory of him smiling into a mirror rushed to his head. I forgot to tell you to just call me Tengen. How unflamboyant of me. Doma just smiled before they heard laughter. Shinobu, be kind to Giyu-san. A girl, same age as Doma, told her younger sister. Doma's eyes went to her as his heart skipped a beat. He hasn't seen anyone this beautiful before. I'm just saying it's why he has no friends, Nei-chan. The younger siblings told her sister who smiled. Hey, I'm Giyu's best friend. A peach-haired boy said next to. Doma could only guess, Giyu. Oh, I'm sorry, only Sabito is your friend, and I still barely have any. Shinobu said smugly. Giyu had a depressed Arua around him, but Sabito helped him. The older sibling ran over and went to the group. You must be the new guy. My name is Kanae Kocho. Please call me Kanae, she said cheerily to Doma, who had a thought run in his mind. I feel like I ate her for some reason. He thought but shrugged it off. My name is Doma Kibutsuji. Nice to meet you, Kanae-chan. The girl nodded quickly as the others came by. This is my little sister, Shinobu Kocho. That's Giyu Tomioka and Sabito Yurokotaki. She announced them to him. He waves at them. He felt Shinobu glare at him. Do you have an annoying phase, you say? She obviously referred to Kyojuro and Tengen in it. Doma felt similar era energy and just went with that. Era. They both said at the same time, making everyone's sweat drop. Kanae decided to join in, and they talked in code era, and no one knew what they meant. With MJ, Muzan. Hello, Nezu. I need your help. Doma was surrounded by his new friends. They all have the unquiness. Yet this was not everyone. Actually, he met others. But he didn't leave the place just yet. He wanted to them know better. Kyojuro is fire, Mitsuri is love, Kanae is flower, Tengen is sound, Sabito and Giyu are water, Shinobu is insect. Am I right so far? He asked as they all nodded. He was happy until he heard someone crying. Not crying out of sadness, but of something else. What a gifted child. It pains me to know what you have experienced. He looked up at the source of the voice. There was a boy who looked older and like a monk. And who are you? My name is Doma Kibutsuji. Please, call me Doma. He asked and announced himself politely. The man turned calm and serious. My name is Guillaume Himahima. May the sun bless you. Please call me Guillaume. Doma nodded as the sound of two people came closer. The bird seemed like a robin to me. The kid said as the older man didn't agree. They both seemed very similar. It was definitely a blue tit. The man with 6 eyes told him. The others looked on, as Doma noticed the kanji for the upper moon and one. This was the guy above him. It also seemed he was noticed by the same guy, so you're two. My name is Mikikatsu Sugikuni, but I go to Kokushibo. He told him with no emotion to it. Please tell me something about yourself. My name is Doma. I mean about who you are. Oh, then I'm Doma Kibutsuji. He saw the look he gave him. He slowly walked back, as the man didn't do anything before he disappeared. He was behind Doma, and before he could register, he was on the ground. You need to train. Luckily for you, Muzan-sama tasked me with training you. He said with little to no care. Doma got up and smirked. Era, bit rough, aren't we taught? He said with an annoying smile. Kokushibo only sighed in defeat and walked away. Meet by the fountain by 5 tomorrow. And with that, he disappeared with no trace of him left. Well then, hello, my name is Doma Kibutsuji. He said to Muichiro, who nodded. However, the future mist pillar looked up to the clouds. Doma pouted and then decided to have some fun. He turned himself into a younger version of himself and ran away, so kawaii. Mitsuri shouted and ran after with the rest of the girls. Doma soon ran for his life as the girls chased around the place. How flamboyant of him! Tengen shouted with a big smile. He knows how to get to women's hearts already. It's only because you want a harem, you say that. Muichiro said, looking towards the sky. Tengen had sparkled around him, saying he would have 3 wives. Yumai. Everyone looked at Kyojiro, who looked on, eating another bento he had. His eyes tracked on the whole thing. What did we miss? Another kid, their age, with bandages around his mouth asked. Behind him, a boy with scars on his body. A very flamboyant friend, Tengen said about Doma. The 2 newcomers looked at the running Doma in tiny Doma form. A new demon, the scarred white-haired man shouted. The others nodded as he looked on. I wonder how powerful he is. Maybe I can have a rival. Giyu, we are all your friends. Sabito told his friend, who was still recovering from Shinobu's words. She's really mean, he said quietly, and Sabito chuckled. They all looked at Doma, who was now climbing on the walls. You can't catch me up here, he said proudly until he felt a terrifying Arua. He looked and saw his new mum. Doma, honey, get down. You might harm yourself all the way up there, she said with a kind smile, and he got down. He was then engulfed by the horde of girls who all found his child form cute. Obanai, Tsunemi, are you guys like the new guy already? Sabito asked them both. They didn't respond. Tsunemi just walked off, and Obanai seemed jealous that Mitsuri was there with Doma. With Muzan, the child had a really shitty life up until now. He also seems to have no emotion after what has happened. Muzan spoke to Nezu about the kid. Do you know anything else? Nezu asked. He was beyond curious about the kid. He never heard of him, and yet when it started, Muzan thought he would know. His name was Izuku Yagi. His new name is now Doma Kibutsuji, will be. He could hear Nezu's heartbeat. It was like a furious storm, so those 2 kept information from everyone about their kid. It would appear so. I will get your adoption papers and punish the family. Muzan felt the evil smile and smiled himself. They were deadly combo. I will come with. Nezu agreed as the call ended. Muzan was left thinking about the events. He never liked All Might, and he didn't hide it. Actually, it was public knowledge that him and Kagaya had little respect for him. People didn't say anything to them because they were the most powerful agencies in the world. They produced the best heroes of all time. Currently, Yorichi being their best. He was described to be the sun itself. Many say that his very moves are elegant. Like his swing of a sword is divine. Muzan learned all this the hard way. When they first met, he and Yorichi had a little sparring match. It lasted a second. Yorichi is beyond a monster in fighting. The devil, Muzan basically, would be too afraid to even mutter his name. He leaned back and sighed. Izuku was a mini version of himself. He just needed guidance into the right place. Maybe he could give Izuku a chance at using his blood demon art soon. Kokushibo was a strict teacher and would be even more if this demon was the third strongest demon. He should have thought about who his trainer was. Yorichi Pav. I was told about a new kid joining Muzan. It turns out he is to be his adopted son as well. I haven't heard anything else. I wonder where all the kids are. Maybe I should visit Tanjiro tomorrow. I will be able to see the Kamado family again. Especially being able to train Tanjiro again. Where is Muichiro? He would be with Ni-san, but I doubt he would be now. He is probably watching Clouds with the new kid. Or maybe Ni-san is watching Clouds with him. I still have to deal with the fact that All Might thought I would train his daughter. She has no talent with the sword and is unfit for it. She uses her quirk too much and nothing else. She will break her mind and body doing that. I have seen many who believe they are the best. They have no respect for their true power yet to be unleashed. Maybe I could help the new kid with a breathing form. I did teach everyone else the forms, so it wouldn't hurt helping someone else. I hope I get to see a new form. It fills me with joy every time I see a new one. It's like a family coming together to create a new thing. This special to them. I also wonder if they will use a blade or a different weapon. I am too used to a blade, but I wonder if someone would use a different weapon to use a form. I hope so anyway. I love watching other types of fighting. It makes me realize that I am the best with the breaths and sword, yet I am not better than these people at their thing. I wonder if this new kid will like me. Maybe he would like some green tea. Yuta always makes the best, and I know he would love it. No one has ever been able to not love her tea. I put my thoughts to one side and go to where everyone is. I see all my students looking at a crowd. Obanai and Sanemi look like they will leave. Tengen is too busy watching the crowd of girls. Kyojiro is eating his bento. Gyome is praying. Sabito and Giyu are watching with excitement and Muichiro is watching the clouds. I decided to see what was happening for myself. It seems too late in the afternoon for something like this. I vanish and appear in the crowd. Everyone becomes quiet when I appear. Out of respect as their teacher and mentor, I am guessing. I see a small silver blonde boy in the middle. This is the new kid. I should probably save him. He does seem lost. Ladies, I think our new friend needs room. I told them with a smile. They all nodded and moved out of the way. I look at the boy. His rainbow eyes are amazing. I wonder why they are a rainbow color. I do see the kanji for upper moon and 2 in his eyes. My name is Yorichi Sugikuni. You have probably met my brother, Mikikatsu Sugikuni. Nice to meet you, I say with a warm smile. Yuta showed me how to express myself more over the years, and I have become better at it. My name is Doma Kibutsuji. Your brother is scary, he tells me as he returns to normal height. I chuckle at his words. Mikikatsu doesn't like being called scary. It hurts his pride. So Doma, how are you liking this place? I ask. He just smiles and nods. I could only think of my child self. Rei walks up to us and hugs Doma. She cares for him deeply, I can tell. Doma, this is the teacher and creator of the breath forms. He is very kind and will guide you when you need help. He nodded with a smile, a fake smile. He is just like me. The perfect way to become stronger is to be truthful with others. Doma, what's wrong? He looked shocked at me. I knew that he was hiding something. I have trained all of the demon slayers here. I know how to tell emotion. It's your past. They basically stripped you of emotions. I got on one knee and smiled. This side of you will soon become your true side. Try to open your heart to others and feel the warmth that is given. The sun is high, and the clouds are free. The clouds are always with others. That is what you will be. He smiled at me. I could, and this one was genuine. He got the message. I walk up to the others and see many bento boxes empty. I chuckle, but nothing changes. All Might Pav. Inko and I are sitting on the couch and looking at Izumi's plans to become a hero. It would be much more simple, if the son, Yorichi's hero name, would have taken her to train. He had the audacity to call her useless. Even if I wanted to beat him, he still punched me so hard that my time limit was reduced. He wasn't trying either, I could tell. The door suddenly goes off, and Izumi and her friends all come in. It's such a good sight to see. She seemed really happy. Everything seemed fine until Nezu walked in. He walked in with the family of Izumi's friends. "Nezu, sir, it's been a while," I said to him. He didn't respond but instead smiled so darkly that we lost the ability to breathe. "Now don't act all merry around me, Toshinori. You sicken me to the core. I finally see what Kaguya and Muzan have said multiple times. You're a hero to show off. This hurts. Nezu has been a longtime friend and supporter. Why did he turn against me? Dad's not like." She was silenced by a Rua that felt like a volcanic eruption. It was as if the devil had appeared. "Miss Yagi, it would be in your best interest to be quiet." And I saw him, Muzan Kibutsuji. One of the most powerful heroes to ever exist. He easily beats me. "Mazwan." I hear Endeavor speak with a shocked tone. I see every kid was silent. This was Muzan, after all. He would tell a kid that he killed their parents and then walk off like nothing happened. "Mr. Kibutsuji has come to tell me some concerning information around you and your family. Especially the fact that the #1 hero is so blind that he doesn't realize his son is not around." I was confused. "Son, Izuku, wait, I have a son. By your reaction, it is clear you have neglected him for so long that you have forgotten about him." Muzan spoke up this time. "Izuku, my son, how could I forget about him? Oh, that's even the juicy part." Nezu said with a sigh, "Your goody two-shoes, daughter, has abused your son with her friends. This has happened since he was found out to be quirkless." I couldn't believe my ears. Izumi abused her own brother. Why? What did he do? "Shoto, Shimo," Endeavor shouted at the twins without anger. "What the actual fuck am I hearing?" He voiced everyone's thoughts. Why hurt someone innocent? I raised you better than this. He spoke in disbelief. "Katsuki, Kawareta," Mitsuki shouted at her children, "You're growing up to be heroes. My children are supposed to be heroes, not villains." She seemed on the verge of tears. I just looked in shame for Izumi, yet I couldn't talk. I did negels at him. I could have done something and yet I didn't. "Izumi, why?" Inko asked our daughter, who didn't respond. She seemed to not care for this. "It doesn't matter anymore." Muzan spoke up. "Izuku is now in my care and from this day on, recognized by the law as my son. He seemed to do this to hurt us. It worked. But, there are no buts, Toshinori." Nezu raised his voice. "It's something that terrified me. You have no say in this matter. The poor kid doesn't even know how to show emotions anymore. You have no right to speak to about this matter. Your punishment has yet to be determined from the Hero Association president. She is still considering everything that she can about it." Muzan left after that. All I could see from that is my son, leaving us forever. And it's all my fault. I knew I wasn't fit to be a parent. I was afraid this would happen. I'm not meant for this. I am meant to save lives and help others. Yet I can't even save my own son. Sodoma has gotten away from the girls thanks to the help of Yorichi. He was glad because of the fact they all treated him like a 2-year-old. They are like 12, but whatever. He sighed to himself before hearing more noises. It sounded like someone practicing a fighting style of some kind. Curious, he went towards it and saw a very pale man with pink hair training. He watched on with curiosity. "Look at Akaza go. He hasn't stopped since that new guy got here." A female demon with white hair spoke up. Doma knew they talked about him and saw the kanji for Upper Moon and 3 in Akaza's eyes. "Yeah, but the new one became Upper Moon 2 in just a day." Akaza trained hard to get his position. A teenager with green hair spoke up. Doma just smiled at this. "How cute, he's jealous." Doma then decided to make himself known. "Good afternoon," he said behind Akaza, scaring him. Doma chuckled at this and gave his hand so he could get up. "Nice to meet you 3. Name's Doma Kibutsuji. Please call me Doma." Doma introduced himself, as the other two enjoyed themselves watching it. Akaza got his composure and got up. "My name is Akaza." "No last name," he said simply, and Doma looked confused about that. Even he went around with his last name. "Why's that, Akaza-kun?" Doma asked with a confused face. He didn't seem like talking about it, and so Doma made it a mission to get to know more. "Oh, so you're 2. The female demon shouted, she being their age. She ran over and inspected Doma. "You're not bad. Era, same can be said to you. It's such a pretty face, and I haven't even seen a rose yet. He told her with a smirk. She returned it and so started talking. Akaza slowly got more annoyed. So you have met my sister. My name is Gyutaro, and this here is Daki. He said calmly, and Daki seemed very proud of herself. I'm going to be number 1 soon, so you better show respect. Daki told him, and Akaza rolled his eyes. She was far from that. Era, your ego is huge, is it not? Your 6 is currently with your brother. Doma simply told her, getting her to glare at him. Akaza sighed in annoyance. He will have to deal with this a lot. I'm just going to leave. You disturbed my training. Akaza walked off as the three continued to talk. Well, more like argue for Daki. Doma just kept on annoying her. Well, anyway, I will be going. Have fun doing what you're doing. Doma said and walked off. He had a proud smirk on his face and walked towards his new dad's office. He wondered if it was anyway. He didn't hear, let me go. I'll show him who's number 1. Daki shouted while being restrained by Gyutaro. She had way too much ego, but not on the level of the all-shitty Katsuki Bakugo. Doma simply entered the room before turning around and sticking out his tongue at her. He left a very angry Daki there. Doma, Muzan said, looking up from his paperwork, how are you? Enjoying this place? He asked while signing the adoption papers. This place is all right. There are weird people, though. Like Daki. He responded, getting a smile from the demon progenitor. He got up and ruffled his hair. Now Doma, be kind. They are part of our group and therefore family. Muzan told him, getting no response from his new son. He stayed silent until he asked a question, why don't Daki, Gyutaro, and Akaza have last names? Muzan was taken back by the question but decided to tell him. Akaza got rid of his last name a long time ago. Daki and Gyutaro don't want to remember their past, especially the fact that their mother was abusive. She had no love for them and sold herself on the streets. Muzan said to him. Doma felt like he could relate to the siblings in some way. He looked at his desk and saw some papers. He was confused until Muzan hugged him. You're now my son. You are officially Doma Kibutsuji. The blonde boy's eyes sparkled. He hugged Muzan, and a tear rolled down his cheek. He was now free from that life and now a new one. Thanks, Dad, he said quietly but enough for him to hear. Muzan smiled gently as Rei walked in to see the hugging pair. She joined in as Doma felt something he hadn't in a while. Love. He slowly fell asleep in their hug. Kanae Pav. The new kid is very flamboyant. Tengen-san shouted with a smile. Doma was adorable, actually. He was cute with his rainbow eyes and personality. I just get lost within his eyes, like his rainbow eyes are truly divine. I have to say that he is just like a male shinobu. Kyojuro-san said happily with his smile. Shinobu pouted at that, and I giggled, and the fact that he has already stolen Kanae-chan's heart is another thing. What? I stuttered with my cheeks warm. I just met him. Yeah, I do feel funny around him, and he is too kawaii. No, it's not like that. I could feel the eyes of Kyojuro-san, Tengen-san, and Mitsuri-chan on me. They tease everyone the most. Kanae has a little crush. Soon, they will be kissing. Mitsuri teased me. I just wanted to hide from them. Who's got a crush on who? Oyakata-sama asked. He appears out of nowhere. Please don't tell him. Sanemi-san smiled at me. No, he wouldn't. Kanae has a crush on Doma. My face is now a beetroot. I have to get if her. Love at first sight? Oyakata-sama asked, and I stayed quiet. He smiled gently. It's all right to love someone like that, Kanae. Especially at a young age. If it is truly love at first sight, then spend time with him and find out if it is truly love. He told me with a smile. He doing this to help me. Why is Oyakata-sama so kind? Nei-san is already in love. Shinobu asked quietly. Oh, come on. She loves Giyu-san and yet never opens up. She better not say this to anyone else, or I will spill the beans. How flamboyant to have a relationship at this age. Tengen-san shouted with a thumbs up. We were not even dating yet. I should ask Doma for tips to go out with girls. Then I shall become the harem king. That doesn't sound original, though. I hope you guys will find love. Mitsuri said with a gentle smile. she going to push us into a relationship? Why did these three have to notice? Such happiness and love at a young age. You have truly been blessed. Guillaume-san said with tears. Well, I can get behind that. Truly splendid. I hope to see you happy with each other. Kyojuro-san said with a proud smile. Maybe it isn't such a bad thing. You should confess now. Sabito told me with a gentle smile. No, I shouldn't. He definitely doesn't feel that way. Especially to me. He probably sees me as a friend. I don't really care, but it would be nice. Obanai-san spoke up on a tree branch. Why does everyone think this? You guys did already seem close. Giyu-san spoke up. He looked nervous to talk. I feel bad for him. Sabito gave him a thumbs up, and he looked more willing to speak after. Oyakata-sama smiled at the scene and then turned to me. Take your time with this. Do not rush something that has yet to blossom into a beautiful flower. The best way to get his love is to be his support and he be yours. I blush at everything and just hope it ends. Why does Doma-kun have steal my heart like this? Canon Doma may have done that quite literally. Muichiro Pav. They all seem to be talking about their future relationships. I wonder if that's it. The clouds seem nice, and yet this discussion is probably more fun. I wonder what Dad's doing. Why does that cloud look like? Kokushibo Pav. I get home from my normal day of cloud watching. I get to me and my brother's house. We live together because it makes life easy. I get in and see Yuta making some tea, while Yorichi is sitting down and waiting. He seems to be looking at the forms. Ah Ni-san, he said with a smile, I was wondering if you think Doma would have a breathing art. What do you think? I think carefully. I do feel slightly cold around him. Wait a second. Cold. Maybe his blood demon art is to do with the cold, and so would his breathing art. My blood demon art is linked to my breathing form, so maybe. I believe his blood demon art is around ice, so his breathing art would be ice breathing. A new form. I could see my brother's eyes sparkle in joy. He loves the thought of seeing another form, huh? I can already tell I am going to enjoy training Doma. I must hope he doesn't annoy me. Time skip no one Pav. Doma slowly woke up to see the sun up in the sky through his window. It was already morning then. He had actually gotten a good rest for once. He got up to his new room. It was very colorful, to say the least. He wonders who did this. Gyoko sneezes. He walked around the room and inspected it. The room is colored in lots of color and beautiful. It was like a traditional Japanese-style room, but then having such a wonderful color to it. The ceiling has a winter design. He got out of his previous clothes and looked in his new wardrobe. He had lots of new clothes that he didn't know what to go into. He decided to go with a blood-red turtleneck of a design that made it appear that the section between his neck and upper chest is covered by a black substance that looks like it's dripping slightly down his body. This same design repeated at his wrists and down his hands, as well as on the small, circular blood stain he adorned on his head. Below this, he wore a pair of straight, tan-colored hakama pants of a pinstripe design, their cuffs visibly loose, which he secured with a pale green-tinged golden belt, its buckle a bright silver. He also only wears plain black tabi socks on his feet. Just Doma's normal appearance but little. He smiled at his new appearance and walked off to start his day. When he got out, he saw this house to a mansion and everything seemed to have lots of color. Maybe his mum was responsible for the color because Muzan doesn't seem like that, he seems like a dancer and singer. He strolled to the living room to his dad and mum talking about some things. Morning. He said with a smile, appearing next to Ray. His moon smiled and patted his head. He really enjoyed it. You look cute, dear. She told him with a smile. He enjoyed the attention as Muzan looked on with a smile. Doma, today, Kokushibo will start your training. I wanted to ask you, what weapon would you like? Muzan asked, and Doma was confused about what weapon he would want. He thought for a bit and came up with it. Fans. The silver blonde screamed out, and Muzan smiled. Ray could tell why already. She catched on easily. So you can fan yourself whenever you want. She said with a smile. He gave a cheeky one back. Muzan nodded at the decision and so called up their weaponsmith for it. It would be a simple task for someone who only makes swords, right? Izuku had to get ready for training, and this meant changing out his clothes he had just put on. He was sad at the start but then got excited to get training. He wondered if Kokushibo would be a kind or evil teacher. There is only one way to find out. He noticed that his training gear was already set up for him. He wondered who did it. He didn't realize they have maids or butlers. Well, they are rich, but they didn't seem like the type to have people do their work for them. Well, Rei, Muzan, certainly. He got into the clothes quickly and went to the meeting point. It was clear that the day was beautiful. He walked around and saw Kokushibo where he said he would be. He seemed to have his eyes closed, so he had waited for some time. He got over and decided to prank him. He ran towards him and pushed him into the water. Kokushibo suddenly woke up and was in the fountain. He got up and glared at Doma. It was the wind. He said with a smile. The other upper moon grabbed his blade and threw it at him. 2,000 swings in an hour. No if or buts. Doma pouted and shocked in his head. 3,000. Era, you're going to make me all stiff. He said jokingly, and Kokushibo seemed to have enough. He pulled out the forbidden breathing art. Gun breathing. First form. AK-47 in an American school. Doma started to run away from his new sensei, who ran with a gun, trying to shoot him. It lasted a bit, but Kokushibo gave up. They started basic training. Kokushibo made him do a workout plan. 500 push-ups, sit-ups, and squats in half an hour. Run up and down a mountain 3 times. After that, 1,000 swings with his blade. It seemed generous, right? For Kokushibo standards, yes. For Doma's, who has never done training in his life, no. Drop and down and give me 500. Kokushibo shouted at Doma. The blonde sighed and proceeded with his torture. It took him only 10 minutes to complete. Demon biology really helps. He has unlimited stamina, just too fast and real power. Kokushibo seemed unhappy with his progress and so made him do the sit-ups. Every time he did a form wrong, Kokushibo would help. Your form is wrong, he shouted, smacked his head, and then proceeded to grab a bottle of water and drink it in front of him, then proceeding to limit his supply of water. Do it right and hurry up. Doma would mumble something and continue with his training until he did the number set. When accomplished, he would get a punch thrown at him, dodge. Doma actually thought of this as a possibility and did dodge. Kokushibo actually felt proud. He then did his squats, and to make things worse, Kokushibo ate lunch in front of him. He would just sit there with a bored expression and eat his lunch, knowing he would be hungry. Doma would sigh to himself and decide to get his revenge soon. Once he finally did it, Kokushibo would pat his right shoulder and give him some food and water. You have completed the first of your training for today. Next you will climb the mountain and also get your own food. This would help your hunting ability, which will help you in chasing villains. Doma would be angry, but had an idea. It was so great that he would impress his sensei. We could add others to this training. Yorichi-san trains the demon slayers so you can train the demons. Kokushibo actually thought about this and nodded. Good idea, Doma. Today, you will climb the mountain, but only to a quarter up. You need to get used to that part before moving on. Doma nodded and got ready for the last part of his training for the day. Yorichi-pav. I looked at Ni-san's training and had an idea. What if I got Kanae to go with him? Yes, they would be perfect little duo. And this would definitely make an interesting talk with the other 3. So I decided to see if she wanted to go. I just need to find her, and yet, I don't know. She is usually hanging out with her sister, who is very adventurous. I can only hope for the best. Tengen. I call for the boy I see first. Everyone seems to stiffen up. Why? What's going on? Nothing. They all told me and tried to hide something. Fortunately, I am bigger than them and can clearly see a homeless-looking girl, similar age to my close friend's son, Tanjiro. She doesn't look responsive or make any decisions. They notice, and Shinobu sighs, as Kanae spoke up. This is Kanae. We found her being sold on the black market, so we brought her here. Please let her stay. This girl was being sold. How disgusting do people get these days? I walk up to her and put out a hand. My name is Yorichi Sugikuni. I taught these 2 how to use the cool breathing arts. Is everything fine? I ask her, and she doesn't respond. She is a younger version of myself, minus no decision making. Well, Kanae. We will need to find a place for you. Come with me and my wife will help you. I smiled and picked her up, so light. Has she eaten? Also, Kanae, would you like to go on a little trip with Doma? What? She stutters out. Oh, this is precious, what do you mean? Doma's training started today, and maybe he would like some company. I smile gently at her, she slowly accepts, and I tell her to get ready and meet up with Doma for more. After that talk, I swiftly get to my house in seconds. Kanae, she is kinda like a mini Yuta when I first found her. So distant and no care in the world. Yuta will love her, though, and my days as a dad might begin soon. I hope so. I open the door and see Yuta watching a report on me, Muzan, Oyakata-sama, and Ni-san. I come up to her and decide to surprise her. What you watching? Why Yorichi? She screams in surprise before seeing Kanae. Don't tell me you pulled a Muzan. She says a bit jokingly. Shinobu and Kanae found her. I decided we could help her get clean and maybe give her more love and care. Seems she hasn't got any. Yuta smiled brightly at this. She loves children. She quickly snatches the girl out of my arms and runs to the bathroom to wash her. I look on the TV and see the report. Today we talk about the Kazuki and Demon Slayers. They are two of the strongest groups in the world and hold the title of having the strongest man in their midst. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are just giving some information. I want to hear this now. First is their founders being the brothers, Muzan Kibutsuji and Kagaya Ubuyashiki. Even though they are biological brothers, they don't share the same last name. Muzan's being the new one of Kibutsuji. We don't understand truly, but we can talk about the legendary hero duo that was produced there. The first, the upper one hero, Moon. Legendary in every right, described as a modern-day Samarui and told to be as cold as a demon. He brings fear towards his enemies and strikes with justice. He counted as the number 2 hero of the world. He comes from both organizations. He is more affiliated with the Kazuki. Second, the strongest man to ever walk. The divine hero. Sun. There is no more of an embodiment of pure power and heroism in anyone else. Even All Might does not compare. He said to even one-punch the hero All Might. It's even the fact that he stopped nearly all crime in the countries he appears in. He is affiliated with the Demon Slayers, believed the trainer of the future one. Yorichi was confused at all the information. He knew he was held high, but he didn't think that high. He also hated the fact that people thought that they could send their students to be trained here. It does not take a week to learn here. It takes years. He sighed and walked to the couch and sat down. At least he can have some resting time. Doma Pav. I was ready to leave, explore only one part of the mountain, and become stronger. Turns out Akaza-kun found out and wanted to join in. Of course I said yes to him. We were going to be best friends. Or I annoy him to death. Either one works. I skipped my way to the gate and saw Akaza waiting but also Kanae. Why do I feel so weird around her? It's like my heart was going to explode with pure joy. Hey Akaza-kun, Kanae-chan. I'm guessing we're going to the mountain together. They both nodded, and we got ready. It was not hard either. We finished our assignment under an hour and enjoyed every second. Akaza was really nice to talk to and Kanae was just perfect. I just hope Kokushibo is kind for a while. Time skip, no Pav. 10 days later, he received his fans. And he loved using them. Kokushibo decided to try and teach him some fighting styles, and it worked. Doma was a fast worker and could do things easily that were taught to him. This impressed his teacher, who started to feel pride for him. He also trained alongside the other 3 demons. Daki and Doma were the annoying, bickering, and loud duo. Gyutaro tried to keep Daki in place, and Akaza just got annoyed. It also turned out that Akaza was able to advance his fighting style and only got Doma excited to train with him more. He also got closer to the others. He and the Butterfly Sisters started a group of Era. They were now the sadistic ones. He and Rengoku also had eating competitions, which they drawed in. He also heard that a new girl joined the Sugikuni family. Kanae was her name and was the daughter of Yorichi and Yuta now. He visited with his family and tried to speak with her. She never responded, and he pouted. He called Kanae about it, and she said about a coin to help make decisions. He agreed and gave her one. She was shocked at this and even cried. From that day on, she would consider him and the Kocho sisters siblings. She called him Doma ni, and he accepted gracefully. His fans were made of Nichiren, and so would change color. His never changed because of his desire for them not to. His blood demon art came in clutch for that one. The next few months were the best he had ever had. He had training, time with friends, and even love. He had lost all these things but got them back. His skills developed over time, and he became only better. Muzan would now watch over the training and would give his blood to the demon 4 to get them stronger. Kokushibo got some as well for training them. He also asked for advice for his blood demon art and began his journey into training it. He was even taught some breath techniques to help him. Doma achieved total concentration constant almost instantly because his body could just handle it. He also got the chance to meet a girl called Kotoha Hashibira, who he sadly found out about her past. She was actually used at the age of 10 against her will by a group of drunk men. This actually led to her getting pregnant and having a child who she cherished. Inosuke was his name. I don't feel comfortable going into detail about this kind of topic. Kanae felt jealous of her originally, with the attention she got from Doma until she learned of her past. She also helped her after. Doma actually helped her with Inosuke and grew a bond with him. Kotoha talked about feelings she had grown for Doma both Kanae, and they agreed on sharing because they both knew Doma was like that. This also didn't go unnoticed by his parents, who found out. They both were talking about being grandparents already. Rei, Muzan, and her would discuss it privately, but he would smile at his son as a hint. Eventually, she moved in because she was abandoned by her parents when she came out pregnant. Doma soon became known as Daddy Doma by his friends. He didn't mind and started to really love Inosuke. He valued him as a son. Around 6 years have gone by in a flash for the young demon. He is now 18. Ready to start his life in Ua. Over these years, he and 2 girls have gotten really close. Inosuke has grown to consider him his dad. Doma has actually got his emotions back. He also got a little sister, Muma, not long ago because his parents decided to finally do it. Some things Doma has done are one thing. In their teachings, they are taught that death to those who deserve is allowed. Doma has done his fair share of killing. He has no care for the ones he kills as they deserve to rot in hell. It also turns out that he found something out. Something he would enjoy. A few months ago. Boss, it's fucking freezing, a thug said in the cold weather. They all were freezing, just let us in the building. They were let in, not knowing they were followed there, it's so cold in winter. A thug said inside as the others agreed. They all rested until they heard someone outside. Let me. They heard a friend of theirs shout. Let's me fooksing in now. Wait please. No, no, no. Ah. They saw a dent on the garage door as blood dripped from the outside. What's out there? The smallest one asked. The biggest decided to open the door and saw nothing. He was confused. There nothing outside. Some others got there to find the noise, to witness the second murder. The biggest guy's head was split in 2, as a fan was seen in the middle. He dropped dead as a sadistically smiling Doma, era. He said with a chuckle, how many are there to kill? He said as he absorbed the body into himself. Demons do not need to eat humans but can. The others looked in horror at the man as he disappeared. We need to get out of here. They all scattered out and only 3 of the 7 got out. The others were butchered alive. What's going on? The wall was broken down, as Doma walked out. Before anyone could react, he killed the remaining 3. He looked at them all and smiled evilly. Is that a demon? Bingo! Doma shouted, fanning himself, you win death. He cut him perfectly in half and slaughtered the others. Every single one suffered before death, he made sure. He entered the last room and smiled at the man. I have a unqui talent to remembering family ties through blood I smell or drink. Doma said to the man who quivered in fear, I found myself a pedo. He couldn't react as he was thrown onto a hook and hang from the ceiling, feeling his spine be ripped out of his body. You would be too disgusting to eat. And he walked away, leaving the man to die painfully. He walked into the basement, hoping his nose was not smelling what it was smelling. But it did. A group of girls, aging between 8 and 15, down there. He felt like pucking. He went over at the terrified girls. He smiled kindly at them. Don't fear me please. I have punished those disgusting vermin myself. They can never harm you again. he said with no smile, dead serious face. They were shocked, but he continued, they all are rotting in the deepest pits of hell. To suffer for an eternity for what they did. Why save us? A little girl spoke up, still scared. He chuckled and fanned himself. I love someone who was affected by some of these people. This was a personal vendetta, but I couldn't allow them to hurt others anymore. He said with a genuine and gentle smile, I'm sorry I took so long to save you. He cut down the wall, showing them to the stairs to get out. I called the local hospital already. They will be here soon. There are new clothes and coats to wear for you all. It's very cold this winter, so please be careful. He walked away as they all slowly got out and saw he didn't lie. They all cried a thanks to him as disappeared with a smile. A few ambulances got to the scene and saw what happened. They were informed of what they knew, what happened and what happened to them. They were taken to make sure they were all right, and yet, they all wondered who their mysterious stranger was. This went viral as well. Report after report came out about this incident. One just like this. A few days ago, a mysterious hero saved a group of girls from the clutches of sickening men. The girls all seemed to have an idolization for him, but an important guessing remains. Was what he did to the villains right? He said and pushed up his glasses. We have the number 3 hero, Hawks, here. Thank you for coming. I wanted to ask you if the actions of this man were heroic. Of course. That whole question was stupid, but if you mean his action on the villains, then mixed feelings. They got what they deserved, but they shouldn't have been so brutally murdered. Actually, some were unrecognizable and other bodies still missing. We have no idea where they went. Hawks said truthfully, concerned about this man. From these events, however, have brought up a new talk. Is killing villains like them truly bad? We have many people around the country on this debate about if killing these people are wrong or right. Hawks sighed at this. He knew all about this because of his type of hero work. Some do deserve it, but unauthorized personnel like him shouldn't have done that kind of thing. He said again as the reporter nodded as he brought up something else. Who do you think this man is? Is he a hero, villain or vigilante? A hero wouldn't kill someone like that, and definitely not the work of a villain. If it was a villain, then he wouldn't have saved the girls. The one thing people are missing is what he told to be like. I firmly believe he comes from the Kazuki, a group of heroes that has permission to eliminate villains if deemed necessary. He answered the man who seemed to want more. How do you know this? Is there anything that gives it away? Hawks facepalmed at his stupidity. He was said to have the kanji for upper moon and 2 in his eyes. The only other person with that kinda thing is Moon, who has kanji for upper moon and 1 in his eyes. YHE reporter nodded as it ended there. Present time. Fight me. Inosuke shouted at his new friends, Zenitsu and Tanjiro, who came there to train. Doma only chuckled at seeing Inosuke's actions. You're scaring Nezuko. Zenitsu shouted at him as Inosuke rolled his eyes. Do you hear this, Kamaboko Gonpachiro? He asked to Tanjiro, who sighed at the name. It's Kamado Tanjiro. Kamaboko Gonpachiro. Like I said. That's wrong. No, you're wrong. Boys, calm down. Doma finally stepped in. He gave them swords, AMD determined like true men. The others were watching this and could facepalm at his actions. Kotoha decided to step in and told Doma off. He was confused because it seemed like the right thing. Well, Inosuke, you won't be fighting anyone today. Doma told him, fanning himself while he was upset. No, you fight me. He pointed at Shinobu, who was confused. You stupid whore. Era. The 3 members of the Era group said at the same time, I thought I told you no fighting. Doma said with a sweat smile, seems you need a lesson in manners. Kanae said with a sweat smile, you need to be kinder to people or you will end up alone, like Giyu. Shinobu said with a sweat smile as well. Inosuke ran behind Kotoha in fear and told off Doma again. He didn't know why he was told off, but he accepted it. Hey Doma-kun, Kotoha said, a blushing forming on her face, can you come with me and Kanae? Seems the other had a blush on her face. He nodded confused. He made sure Inosuke would be on his best behavior. He listened thankfully. He didn't realize the teasing eyes of Mitsuri, Akaza, Daki, Kyojuro and Tengen were on them. They all made a bet of who would ask first. Once they got to a pond and stood there. Doma was waiting while thinking of why he was there. Doma-kun, how much do you like us? He was shocked at the question. His dad taught him in many ways of women and he took advice carefully. So he knew what would happen next. Guess they felt the same. My emotions are the same as yours. They blushed massively, as he gave a teasing smile, so why don't we skip the rest and just start this little harem? He said as he pulled them into a hug and they accepted it. He smiled, not knowing Akaza won around $265 that day. He didn't mind anyway. Sludge Villian time. An explosion was heard throughout Mustafa, as a Villian took the body of Katsuki Bakugo. The heroes weren't really doing their job, but didn't realize the one thing that ended the Villian life. Ni-san. A little girl screamed into Doma's arms, big scary monster. Doma nodded and handed her over to his girlfriends, before clicking his knuckles. He disappeared and appeared on top of a building. He smiled evilly as the Villian felt fear in an entire new form of fear. He felt like he heard a theme, but didn't know what it was. He looked at the building and saw Doma. This man terrified him a bit too much. What the fuck are you? He screamed trying to blast him but missed. You know it's always the same thing, what are you? I will give an answer. Your personal demon. He got out his fans and breathed in some good air, ice breathing, sixth form, freezing cold night. The Villian was trapped within the cube, as Doma tore out Katsuki. He then shattered the ice, killing the Villian with a smile. Era, you got my clothes dirty. He gave Katsuki to the paramedics. The heroes wanted to scold him, until they saw his eyes. Upper Moon 2. They didn't bother and he went back to his girlfriends and sister. Ni-san, that was awesome. Doma smiled and patted her hair. Turns out she loves head pats as well. Soon, he was interrupted by a squad of dumbasses. Deku. Katsuki shouted and tried to punch him, finding himself on the floor, Doma's foot on his chest. Era, Doma said with a smirk, that's not how you treat your saver. He said, applying more pressure onto his chest. The others of Katsuki's squad were horrified and tried to stop him, but couldn't. Oni-chan. Izumi cried out, feeling a overflowing amount of killer intent coming from Doma. What did you just say? His smile making her step back in fear. His eyes were dark and filled with death, as he looked at her. Basically, he was pulling a shinobu. Her friends were shocked at this side of him. He never showed emotion in the past. And yet, here he was doing that. Doma-kun. Kanae called out, making him look at her, you're going to kill the mud if you don't stop. The other girls of Izumi's group were shocked that he listened to her. Doma smiled, hiding his anger as they decided to leave. Katsuki suffered not only from the sludge Villian, but also Doma who crushed his ribs. Unknown to them that this was observed by Nezu who sighed to himself, this would be interesting few years indeed. On the way back, Doma decided to think of something before speaking. Should I steal Dad's credit card and take us an Inosuke to Disneyland? He got an immediate yes, to which Muzan felt fear. The same when Ray has his credit card. It's worse than his PTSD. Doma, the Upper Moon 2, is currently bored. He and Akaza just had their training session that took a good amount of time. Doma had beaten him again, but it only fueled Akaza's desire to become stronger. Doma, however, had a sneaky plan. He was going to prank someone. No one knew of what he was going to do, but all would be shocked. So he started his plan on setting up a performance of where his dad will dance in front of everyone. He skipped around and prepared it at night. Turns out he knew how productions went and knew how to set it all up. The harder part was how was he going to do this. But he found a way. When everyone woke up the next day, all they heard was Michael Jackson songs. When they got there, they saw very angry Muzan, with a giggling Muma and Ray and a flying Doma. Team Rocket blasting off again. Doma shouted as he disappeared with a sparkle. The others were very confused, but then started a dancing competition. Doma landed on top of the bentos. This only made Kyojuro mad and they started their battle. It soon became a dance battle with them both dancing. Muzan watched all this with confusion until his daughter told him to dance. It was impossible for him to decline, so Muzan did what he had to do. Become Michael Jackson for a bit. Everyone there just had a lot of fun. And in the end, only Akaza and Doma had a real fight. Time skip. Akaza and Doma were sitting together, both thinking about a move together. This being their double super move. They both had time to come up with moves that would help each other. Example being, Ice-Breathing Destructive Death, First Form, Roaring Dragon of Hell. This is care Doma uses his 10th form. There was a few I kept out, that encase Akaza in a Dragon of Ice. Akaza then uses Destructive Death, Annihilation type, which makes the whole dragon become full of purple flames. When they connect their attack, it basically destroys everything around them, leaving nothing behind. They wanted to come up with an attack that would work totally in their favor. The moves they had were already worked, and yet people like Yorichi or Kokushibo have been able to disturb the time they needed to set it up. They needed a move that would them to at least get the time they needed to set it up. Ideas of this were based around Doma's blood demon art techniques that would help in slowing them down. They both gave it up and called it a day. Well, Doma teased him before he left, "Make sure you say hi to Daki for me." Akaza glared at him before smirking. "Tell me when you finally bang your girls." Doma chuckled and waved himself with his fans. "I would probably tell you anyway." They both had a laugh together before leaving. Doma reflected on all the events that have happened. The one thing that gets him though is them. For years he hasn't had go deal with them, and now they show up again. He really dislikes it. Okay, he really hated it. He got home to see his girls talking about something. He decided to listen in. "How big do you think it is?" Kanae asked Kotoha with a smile. The other blushed a deep red. Demons can change their height, right? Maybe he could change his size. Doma blinked at that. He could do that. He would have to test it out. "Yeah, so what do you think it is currently?" "We both have looked at his bulge in his pants," she said teasingly, and Kotoha hid her face in embarrassment. "Like it's big. Sometimes I think he is in pain from how tight his clothes can be." "But Doma loves pain." "Doma likes pain," Kotoha asked with Kanae nodding. "How do you know?" "Sadistics just know each other and can tell what the other likes," she said with a smile, confusing the black-haired girl with blue tips. Doma was flattered by this but concerned. Doma decided to make himself known. He went inside and coughed into his hand, making the two blush and turn to him. Era, aren't you too horny?" "You said jokingly," and he got them to hide their faces. "Do you actually want to know how big I am?" "Yes," they both said, and he smiled. He was about to piss them off. "I am 187 centimeters tall. And I weigh around 86 kilograms, so around 190 pounds. He said while pointing a finger in the air. Both girls dropped to the ground as he chuckled. "That's not fair, Doma-kun," Kanae shouted with a pout. He rolled his eyes and sat next to them. He got in the middle of them and rested his arms around their shoulders. "Let's chill, all right," Doma told them. They both decided to hug into him, slowly falling asleep with him. "Told you," Muzan whispered to Rei. "They won't do it anytime soon," he said with a smirk as she had to pay up. "No fair," she pouted, and he chuckled. He also thought of one thing himself. "I just hope he doesn't get a bigger harem," he thought with an image Doma acting like a pimp around him. Time skip. UA, the largest hero school in Japan and most recognized in the world. Given great titles for having heroes like All Might and Endeavor train there. Little did the teachers know, they were about to have a chaotic year. Doma, Kanae, Rengoku, Tengen, Akaza and Muichiro. "You have been picked out to join UA," Muzan announced to them, smiles appearing on their faces. "You have been picked because you are confident that you can go. We believe in you. Make us proud out there. My children, it's so great to see you all go into a new stage of life. Please, show them all your power and that you are truly the future." Kaguya said with a gentle smile. "Yes, Oyakata-sama," they all shouted and got ready. Before leaving, they got a special party. Everyone wished they best of luck as they went to the next stage. On the way there, Tengen was talking a lot about who they were going to do. Doma and him did not shut up, much to the annoyance of Akaza. Kyojuro had gotten food and kept on saying his heavenly words, "Yumai." Muichiro was looking around, trying to figure out what bird was what or the shapes of the clouds. Kanae was just smiling as Doma gave her a piggyback ride. They soon made it and got there in style. Poses. JoJo poses. Let's just say, they cemented dominance already. Tengen is Polnareff, Joseph is Doma, Kyojuro is Avdol, Muichiro is Iggy but just dead serious, Akaza is Jotaro and Kanae is Kakyoin. They walked in with many just terrified of them. Especially Doma. He seemed like an insane man ready to kill anyone who looked at Kanae. What? That's not foreshadowing. Why you still here? They got to the hall and all sat down together. Everyone could just feel the power radiating off of them. They were all scary to say the least. As more people came in, the please help us with our retardism and daddy issues squad came in. They thought they could sit in front of them. They did, but only felt like death was behind them. Oni. Before Izumi could finish, they looked back to see him and Akaza arm wrestling. Come on Akaza-kun. You can do it, Doma said mockingly before ripping his arm off. Everyone else was worried, until he grew it back. That's cheating, he said, tore his arm off, for it to only regrow. That's my jerking off hand. What? I jerk off with that one. Do you at least wash your hands? Doma smiled as the era appeared around him. Yes, but not only that. Suddenly a tremendous amount of energy was between them. That's the hand I used to wipe my ass with. They continued their argument until a teacher came out. Everyone was weirded out by them, but were too afraid to speak to them. And so the written exam begun. Doma easily completed it because his dad is a fucking genius that rivals Nezu. Of course, this was shocking to everyone else, and the fact that Doma and the rest did it so quickly. The questions were based on saving people with using maths, science, how you speak to them and much more. One of their leaders is Kagaya Ubuyashiki. That man can silence the world with a finger. He is too powerful, so they waited a while and did nothing. I'm not hiding the fact that Doma and Tengen had a beauty contest. Wait, you weren't supposed to know that. Once everyone finally got there, President Mike finally gave his speech about the physical exam. Until a kid put his hand up. He rambled one about zero mention of a pointer. That was until he pointed at Doma and Kanae. Kanae was snuggling into his chest while he was fanning himself and her. You both are distracting. Before he could say anything, he was interrupted by one man. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you are the only distributor here. Akaza spoke up, making the robot kid shocked. He's right. You have distracted everyone here and also stopped information from going out to help everyone. Kyojuro said with his powerful smile, that burned people's eyes of hot fucking hot he is. It's very unflamboyant that you even look around to try and find people who are not listening, or so you believe. I'm sorry to tell you that my two friends over here are lovers and that they show affection to each other. Maybe you should update yourself from Windows XP and then you can understand. Tengen him with a bored look because he disturbed a very good moment. They were going to kiss. Mitsuri wanted video evidence of this kind of stuff. They will have to try again. At least it's a sound plan. He sat down in embarrassment as Mike continued. After that, they got their different locations. Doma was alone and so he pouted a lot. When he got there, he waited as girls were saying about how cute or handsome he was. He was annoyed and so, grabbed his fans and fanned himself. Who said you ate aloud fans? Robot Man said, trying to grab them until he saw his eyes. Upper Moon too. He became silent and stepped back. This man could easily kill him. Doma smiled as he saw the gates open. He disappeared and began his racking of points. He encountered a one-pointer first. It tried to punch him. Big mistake because when it connected, it hurt itself. And robots can't feel pain. It was sent to a building. He continued running forward as another appeared and shot its laser at him. Doma's side flipped out of the way, threw his fans into its eye and destroyed it. He put his hand out and they returned to him. He then continued, not realizing the teachers could see the robot views. Secret room. Nezu was watching the robots feed and couldn't believe one of them. Imagine this as Doma. This is also as what the Kamado family saw before dying. He just looked on confused as the teachers all saw another of him just destroying the rest. Why did he dance? Aizawa asked, only hearing a chuckle from Mike. Kids got style. The loud teacher responded, getting a glare from the homeless-looking hero. The others were massively confused and just went with it, so he likes to dance. Nezu spoke up, then he will love this zero-pointer. He pressed the button but something happened. Zero-pointer update. 22 hours. Would you like to contact us about any problems? You have to he fucking kidding. Nezu said in disbelief. Zero-pointer offline. They checked its footage and saw Doma dancing again. No one knew why, he just started to dance. With Doma. Doma was thinking of one simple thing while doing. Muma will be upset if I don't do this perfectly and Inosuke needs to learn these moves somehow. So he continued, until he had enough fun. Turns out the exam stopped when he did, but his luck would run out. Can Doma Kibutsuji come to the meeting room? Mike shouted through the intercoms. Doma knew who it was and mentally made it a mission to kill one of them. He slowly got there and, while doing so, readied his fans for murder. He walked there with one intention. As he got by the door, he opened it and put his fans at Inko's neck. You have 6 seconds to explain yourself, he said with a deadly glare. Inko was shocked and felt the fans slowly cut into her neck. Oni-chan. That's you. She was stopped by Doma turning his head to her. A crazed smile on his face. His eyes and mouth twitching. Finish that sentence and I'll add you to my kill count, he said with a dangerous smile. She became quiet and he then looked back at Inko with a no emotion, time's ticking. Why am I here? He dug his fans deeper into her skin until she spoke. Quirk marriage. Everything stopped then. Inko looked at Doma, before being tossed into the wall. His eyes burning with hate. You stupid fucking whore, he shouted at her before relentlessly kicking her face into the ground. Who the fuck do you think you are? Decade my life. Who I love. Izumi tried to stop him, but he had enough of her. He outstretched his fans and made a clean cut across her face, leaving a permanent scar on her face. He would have murdered them both if he wasn't stopped. This was not by who you think, but by Toshinori. Kid, they've had enough, he said sadly to him. He turned to him and glared. He smiled weakly and sat down. Sorry for bringing you here. Didn't think she would do that, he said sitting down. Doma slightly calmed down though still full of rage. Toshinori just sat there and did nothing. If I killed one of them, what would you have done? That question has many answers. It matters really of how my emotions would drive me. I don't know. He got up and patted his shoulder. Do yourself a favor and don't bother with us. Focus on your life and forget we exist. You make it sound easy, Doma said, putting his fans away, wanting to go to Kanae. I understand, kid. I know that you have made your mind a long time ago. I can only respect your choice. If I may say one thing though, respect me as a teacher and just that. I mean nothing to you outside of that. He went to check on the other two in the room. Doma walked out into the others, while thinking of one thing on his mind. He pushed his thought behind and went to the others. He just wanted to get home. The sound of birds chirping and the sky being full of color. The only thing that could possibly go wrong with this day was a blonde demon. Butterflies are quite beautiful, Doma said, a butterfly landing on his finger. He was with Kanae, Shinobu and Kanae. Both girls were training the younger one. Doma just tagged along because he may or may not be bored. A butterfly landed on his finger, as he heard a very familiar distant sound. Doma. He heard Kokushibo shout. The others looked at him and he slowly got out of there. The demon arrived and they saw a sight they never thought they would see. Kokushibo's face had makeup on it and he was adorned by a female kimono, his hair held up by a butterfly hairpin. Era, I'll have to punish him for stealing my hairpin, Kanae said with a sweet smile. Where is he? Kokushibo stated, not seeing said demon tiptoeing his way out of there. He gave a smile to them and got away. He ran behind you, uncle, Kanae told him, getting a head pat from the demon as he drawed his sword out. He smiled as he saw the fleeing figure of Doma. He dashed towards him as Doma ran faster. Soon they ran across the whole compound. He soon ran into Muichiro, who looked behind and saw his dad's appearance. This is what happened next. You look lovely, Dad, he smiled, before seeing a dead Doma on the ground, next to a passed-out Kokushibo. He was confused. What did he do to them? He smiled. He grabbed Doma and walked away. It was part of the plan. Few minutes later, Kokushibo woke up to a bird next to him, a dove to be specific. Why is this dove next to me? He thought, getting up and looking down at it. It flew up and landed on his shoulder. You remind of a girl from my past who never gave up trying to get my attention, he said with a smile. Wait, what's happening? Flashback. No, wait please. Flashback. Mikikatsu Pav. I swing my sword for the 1000th time. Yorichi did it so easily. I want to know how. I'm supposed to be the older brother, I have to protect him. If not, I fail as an older brother. You hurt yourself. I turn to see a shy girl, the same who watches me train. She gave me a towel to get rid of the sweat. I take it, grateful as it was a long day. I accidentally touched her hand, it's pretty soft. She didn't seem to care and got out a bandage. I didn't realize my hand was bleeding. You need to be careful or you will only hurt yourself. She told me with a smile. I nod and walk home. She just stood there with a sad face. Do you want me to walk you home? I ask her. Her face turned bright with a smile. We both walk home. This girl gets lost watching the clouds are trying to figure out what bird she sees. It's kinda cute. Hope I never do this. Mikikatsu-san, thanks for waking me home. She bows to me, I wave my hand and walk off. That girl is special. Time skip. Mikikatsu. I hear girls scream my name. They annoy me, I want to get home. Mum is in really bad shape and she might die. I can't let that happen. I will make sure she lives. Then Yorichi will be able to become the hero he wants to be. I'll make sure of it. Once they all leave, I run home. I need to get home quickly. I get there and see Dad outside with a gloomy face. I rush inside and wander into the room where Mum is. I heard only one thing I thought I would never. Yorichi crying. I dash into the room and see my brother next to our mum, holding her hand as she looked so peaceful. No longer in pain. I feel something wet run down my face, but I pull my brother into a hug. I'll at least keep him safe. Time passed as we got over it. The funnel was held a few weeks later. I met these two men with Yorichi. Muzan Kibutsuji and Kagaya Ubuyashiki. They kinda helped and I feel better. Kagaya has a way with words. I also met her again. She is the only one I have told this to. We both were locked up in a hug for a while. Why did I tell her though? Also, why is her favorite bird a dove? Flashback end. No one pav. I shall call you Munraiba. He told the dove with a smile, walking off. He completely forgot about what happened. With Doma. Fuck the what? He asked to his dad who sighed. So he showed him again. They were both doing an experiment and turns out, it failed. Doma, I love you. But get this right for the 6th time you have done this. Muzan said, trying to hold his anger in. Sadly, Doma was Doma. He was annoying him. So only a few minutes later, the lab blew up. Turns out Muzan didn't think Doma would make a bomb. Doma did that and even made a joke that would get him cancelled. Time to get ready for school. Doma skipped away from Muzan who was stuck in lots of rubble. An hour later and the gang were on their way. Of course, Doma and Tengen would be talking about women. Doma told him he needed to be laid. Kyojuro who smiling his beautiful smile. Kanae was thinking of ways to punish Doma for taking her hairpin and Muichiro, you know what. Soon they arrived with Kanae being carried by Doma. He got ready and dashed inside. He had no idea where he going but went to a room. He found his way into class 1A, get your legs. Suddenly the door went flying, nearly killing the robot. At where the door once stood, was Doma with a cheering Kanae. We should do this again. They both shouted with joy. Everyone looked at them like they were insane. Only one was. You nearly killed me. The blue hired kid shouted at them both. He didn't get a reply, as both found their seats. He tried to stop them but he made the mistake of grabbing Kanae. Now here's the thing with these two sadistics. If you touch them without permission, well. Era, he has a death wish. Doma said with an evil smile, I think we should punish him for touching me without permission. Kance said with a terrifying smile. They both having the kanji of menacing around them. He stepped back as he heard his saving grace. It was the one thing that could stop them, something adorable. What is the shape of that cloud again? Muichiro asked randomly, getting both of the Era lovers to look at him. Before the class could comprehend, both were calling him cute. Manly because he started smiling recently and no one could stand that kind of power. Everyone else in the class was just shocked. Before anything else could be said, a caterpillar man came in. He saw that all the Demon Slayer bundle were sitting down. They moved really fast. He would have to keep an eye on them. Sit down and shut up. He said as everyone else did. Everyone else sat down, not all properly. They went into potential expelled students. Heroes should conduct themselves like respectable and kind people. He pulled out a PE kit. I know this is sudden, but put these on and meet me by training ground B. He saw the bundle already leaving with their kits. Follow their example, now. Everyone did so and got ready to begin their first training lesson, or so they thought. Male locker room. So Doma had put the kit on. The others were taking time, except for who you know, we must set our hearts ablaze. Kyojuro told his group. Doma smiled and saw poor old Muichiro. I thought you were a girl. Some said to him, only to get a glare from him. They backed off and he got ready, well except a grape man was doing it. This hole leads. He felt Akaza behind him, drilling holes in the back of his head with a glare. Doma chuckled and walked over as well. Era, looks like we have a little pervert. It would appear he tried looking at the girls. His smile made the grape shit himself. His instincts told him to run away from him, that he would murder him. You know, one of them is my girlfriend. Only I should see her body. He grabbed his head and destroyed every grape on his head. Now get ready, or I will make an example of you. Akaza just watched. Actually he knew one thing. Doma was only concerned about Kanae and not the others. He knew exactly why as well. He didn't consider anyone but them, actual hero material. How unflamboyant for him to try and look at them with their clothes off. Tengen said with his arms crossed. He truly has dulled his heart's flame. There is no hope for him. Kyojuro said with a smile. I want to have a pet bird. Muichiro said, zoning out of what happened. The others in the room, who weren't used to it, were shocked at his and the others' actions. Doma soon got out and walked towards the designated training ground, actually being surprised by Kanae when she jumped on his back. You have to carry me there. She seemed very mad at him and he didn't know why. Why? He asked, actually concerned. She gave him the pout and he remembered. I'm sorry I burned your toast. You did it on purpose. Did not. Did yes. Not. Yes. Not. Yes. Eventually they went there, only reason being Doma promised her that he would make the toast. They agreed on him cooking her an kotohei meal. She had no hope for him so they had a bet. If Doma did make it good, he then would get to a chance to have Kanae cooking food for him. What were you thinking? And if he didn't, he would have to do both Kanae's and Kotoha's makeup. You know, for being small. He didn't finish as he felt a terrifying presence behind him. Sweat ran down his face and he smiled nervously. You are quite scary. The presence stopped, but he got a smack on the back of his head. She thought he was going to call her fat. Once they arrived, Aizawa was asleep so they had nothing to do. Kanae decided to get their weapons out. Doma had his weapons already. He was fanning himself, before he yeeted Aizawa down a hill. Aizawa woke up to him falling face first. He got up and glared at Doma who was chuckling, but he made an excuse. It was not this blonde but another. His name was El Doma. He has a mustache, he said, trying to get away from the glare he received. Aizawa sighed, before getting back into his sleeping bag and flying back to the tree. Kanae had her sword out and now was practicing. She chased Doma around the place, this being small Doma. Eventually, the whole class got there. Turns out Tengen was spinning Katsuki like a basketball on his finger. Katsuki thought he could beat him, big mistake. Today we will be doing a physical exam on your quirks and where you were with your physical abilities. He told them, as Doma and Kanae rejoined them. What about? Before she could finish, she was silenced by a certain blonde demon. Orientation. Please, we are training to become heroes and we are in class 1A. We are the highest of the first years and so should prove our right to be so. Unless you want to be replaced by someone else. Doma told her with a smile, fanning himself, his other being with Kanae who was fanning herself. The brunette shut up and Aizawa continued, Kibutsuji. You got the highest in the entrance exam with 98 billion points plus more. Take this ball and throw it. I don't care how you do it, but stay in the circle. Doma nodded and took the ball. He truly had to think about this and so it came to him. He got into a stance and threw it into the air. He didn't use his ice as it would stop the ball. Yet he still dominated it, 989.54. The machine showed, shocking everyone. Well, all but a few. Soon the rest begun. All were doing what they needed or they would be expelled by their teacher. Speed. Doma being a demon has better speed than humans. A little thing to remember is that demons are the natural predators of humans. If humans change with power, the demons would have to adapt. This does mean that are stronger than the demons of Kny and also, demon slayers. Doma got a score of an second. The machine broke under the pressure and blew up when Doma and Akaza fought each other, showing their true speed that was too much for it to handle. Grip strength. Doma broke it because he was angry at Akaza hurting his finger. Standing long jump. They jumped pretty high, except Doma. He spammed ice to get pretty high in the sky. Before he jumped, did a flip and landed. Except Akaza hit him in the face when he was near the ground. Repeated side steps. He was told to stop. Sit-ups. He was told to stop. Long distance run. He was told to stop. Seated toe touch. Being Inosuke's dad, he was incredibly flexible. So he did an Insuke. Final results. 1. Doma Kibutsuji. 2. Akaza. 3. Tengen Uzui. 4. Kyojuro Rengoku. 5. Kanae Kocho. 6. Muichirot Sugikuni. Last places. Izumi Yagi and Mineta. I forgot his first name. Izumi looked down with sadness as Mineta cried, it was a lie. Aizawa said and kept them alone. It was a no. He was 100% willing to get rid of your asses, but I think Nezu threatened his wage if he expelled people this year. Doma said and left with his group. What a lovely day. It would a shame if someone ruined it. Yes, the ultimate villain. The most terrifying of them all. Chachimaru. The demon pussy. He had the catnip. That's it. Yes, he was so high that he shat on Daki's clothes. That was an eventful day. Only if the villains could do their job. Ta-da. Doma presented a table of food to Kotoha and Kanae. Both were shocked at how much he cooked. How did you finish it in time? Kotoha asked in surprise. He smiled. My little secret. An hour ago. Okay Insuke, I have brought some food here. I need you to collect it and bring it here. Got it? Doma asked Inosuke, who nodded quickly. He ran towards the door and waited. Present. This looks like it was made by someone else. Kanae told him, giving him a simple look. He knew this look being one that said, why the fuck did you buy this? He had to come up with an excuse. Of course not. You accuse me of such a thing. He said dramatically, holding his chest and dramatically falling. Kotoha started to eat and Kanae decided to. Inosuke was there and was secretly given $20 for his help. Soon, the day passed. Doma wasn't tired and had lots of energy. So what did he do? Kill people. Okay little girl, so this man who was crossed with a bird had taken you as an experiment and now you want to get away. The white-haired girl, with a horn, nodded. Doma then saw a man, who looks to have a fear of germs, yet rolled up his sleeves. I wonder why he does that. Sorry for the inconvenience. He looked at Doma, who just looked at him with a smile. Next you will say, Eri is very clumsy sometimes. Doma said, pointing a finger at him, doing a JoJo pose. Eri is vey. He stopped and looked at Doma. Did you read my mind? He asked. Doma rolled his eyes and just stabbed him with his fans. Era, you didn't learn such a basic rule of combat. Don't lose track of what happens. Overhaul was shocked, and tried to grab him, but he started to freeze up. He couldn't do anything with his arms. Doma slashed his arms off with his fans, spun round and kicked him into the wall. He froze his legs, so that they would rip off at the force he went. He threw his fans into his torso and appeared behind as he started to freeze again. He dug his hand into his back and ripped his spine, with his head out. Fatality. Doma wins, flawless victory. Doma said to himself, throwing his head away. He looked at Eri's retreating figure. She was clearly afraid of him. Don't be afraid of me. I took him away from the world so that he can't ever harm you again. He's gone, he can't hurt you. No one will, he told her and picked her up. She looked innocently at him and slowly closed her eyes. Do I have another child? He returned shortly after, seeing Kokushibo outside. He seemed to be looking at the clouds, after something. He slowly turned his head at him, his face unchanging but clearly looking at the kid he held. You are like your father more than I thought. And went back to doing what he was doing. All because I brought a kid here. You're just mean, he said, going inside. Kokushibo wished he was a cloud. Doma sighed to himself and entered the building. There was no way someone else was up. Doma, Daki shouted. He looked in her direction and saw her behind him. Why is my clothes white? Era, you dress like a whore, so you tell me. She looked at him and gave a evil smile. He returned the smile and they stared each other down, lighting between their eyes. It was about to start until Akaza appeared in front of him. He looked between them and grabbed Doma, leaving Eri there. Next thing that happens is simple, we don't fight girls. Sorry, I don't speak false. Doma shouted at him, preparing for a fight. He readied his fans as Akaza got into his fighting stance. All women are queens, Akaza shouted. Doma smiled evilly. If she breaths, she's a thought. Akaza went in for a punch as Doma got out his fans. They clashed as Doma smiled and cartwheel, grabbed his head with his kegs and threw him into the ground. Their fight continued for a bit. A very intense game of Uno. Just give up. Accept that women are queens. Akaza shouted, huffing as Doma smiled. You realize that I am Muzen's son, right? Akaza was confused, but Doma smiled with a victory. Then you won't fight me. He suddenly morphed into women. Oh dear lord, impossible. Akaza was shaking. He had to fight him and yet he would go against his code. What's wrong, Akaza-kun? Afraid that I only eat men now? Doma asked, scaring the pink-haired demon. Mummy's hungry. Muzen suddenly woke up. He felt pride in someone for some reason. Did Doma learn the technique? He asked himself, ignoring a screaming Akaza who ran away from a female Doma. Next day, Akaza had therapy sessions now. The day was new and everyone learned about Doma's new secret technique. I have never been such a proud father in my life. Muzen said with a tear. Ray was concerned and Muma was thinking it was cool. Little did both males realize that this technique would be overused. So you can just turn into a woman. How does it work? Kotoha asked, confused. She was wondering how it worked as Kanae was having a mental breakdown on how it worked. Akaza was planning a way to kill Doma unless he turned into a female, then he would run. I would also like to know. Kyojuro said with a smile that lightened the room. The others were thinking the same and Doma smiled and left them alone. Time skip. I don't why, but I don't like trains. Kyojuro said, having an uneasy look while Akaza shrugged. We could fight. Akaza asked him. Kyojuro thought about it. A train, really? Doma said, examining it, who knows? It could be the beast of the land. He told them, getting dragged into it by Akaza. The others went on, not realizing that the little argument between Akaza and Doma. You smell like pure sweat. I trained this morning. Something you should be doing. Akaza told him, huffing afterwards, while Doma started to secretly put a sign behind his head that said he smelled. They were like children. You should fight a woman. Women are queens. Thank you. What do, oh dear lord? Get out of you foul demon. Made call women something else than queens. What? Oh you bitch. Once they arrived, Akaza and Doma walked together, talking about how to kill people secretly. The others were having a nice chat about their swords, while Muichiro was busy trying to convince his dad to buy him a bird over the phone. They got inside and realized one thing happened. They got into their class and saw Katsuki tied to his chair. Era, did we join something? Kanae kindly asked, while Doma threw a ball of ice at his head. He thought he could fight Kibutsuji-san and win. Momo told them, getting Doma to have a simple reaction. Come at Katsuki. I'll show the power of my true power. The power of plot. He shouted at him, having a glow around him and his eyes shining. Katsuki let out mumbles as they sat down. Well, Doma threw another ball at his head. He also made sure that he threw one at the male private part in his face. Aizawa walked into Doma sacrificing Katsuki. He was very confused and didn't know who he was to sacrifice Katsuki to. Dear anime titties. Of course, Aizawa said under his breath. He stopped it in time because Doma was about to a 360, horizontal, jumping, swinging, running no scope on him. Time skip. There was running within the halls and the door was flown into the other side of the room. Entered All Might who fell down a hole. Oh shit. When Doma is bored, accept these things. Have a nice fall. Doma said to Akaza, hawking his cheek, get it. Fall. He said to him, not realizing the steam coming off Akaza's ears, hey Akaza-kun, do you wonder how gravity works? Another whir. When objects go up, they must fall down. Doma nudged him, raving his head getting blown off. Everyone in the room, except for the unconscious All Might and Demon Slayers, were shocked. You killed him. Iida shouted. Akaza just put a finger up as his head regrow. I was just trying to be friendly, but I guess that had a great fall. His head was blown off again. 20 minutes later. Okay class. Today we will be doing battle training. Green Physics told them before hearing the two demons. Yes, Akaza-kun, we get to fight. Finally. Something fucking good to do here. Oh okay. Anyway, you need your hero costumes for today. She looked back and saw Akaza and Doma in theirs already. Both having big smiles on their faces. I will beat you there, Akaza-kun. Doma ran off, making Akaza curse at him but chase after him. Everyone confused about those two being best friends. If you were wondering, Kanae made $652 for guessing that Doma and Akaza would do this. Also, Doma made another hole and guess who fell in it again. All Might is just a Japanese guy trying to be Superman. Doma said to Akaza as they waited for the rest of the class. Suddenly, Akaza and Doma had a feeling. Someone is disrespecting women. Akaza said, looking in the direction of the guys' changing room. Era, someone really wants to lose their dick rights. Doma said with a terrifying smile. Mineta thought he could get away with it even though the others told him that Doma would find out. Kyojuro was eating popcorn, waiting for the events, and Tengen was recording the scene. Yumai. Yes, I am sending this to Mitsuri. Yumai. Because she wanted a video. Yumai. You are a flamboyant poet. Mineta was about to look through, until the door was busted open and entered the two demons. Era, we are gone for one time and you are being a pervert. Doma said, just cooling himself down with his fans. I say we just end him. Akaza said to Doma with anger on his face. He saw Doma smile and knew it was better. I have a better idea. Girls' changing room. Izumi, where did you get that scar from? Mina asked Izumi, who didn't respond. She didn't want to talk about the guy she once called brother. Do you guys hear something? Jiro asked with a confused face, thinking she heard Mineta scream like a little girl. Probably our imagination, Kanae told her, knowing exactly what was happening. Guy's changing room. Flamboyantly grab his dick and twist it. Tengen shouted as he recorded the whole thing. Girls' changing room. I swear I heard Mineta scream again. Jiro said, the others getting curious. They looked into the room and didn't see anything like that. Doma and Akaza quickly acted like they were dancing, not to raise suspicion on the midget being demaned. Kanae watched the whole thing because Tengen sent it to group chat. Demon lol 420. SWTW Tengen, sound with 3 wives. Women _ thoughts, Doma. Women are queens, Akaza. Brat, Daki. Skinny _ penis, Gyutaro. 6 _ eyes, Kokushibo. Michael _ Kibutsuji, you know who. Butterfly _ queen, Shinobu. Era _ Kanae _ era. I am Cloud, Muichiro. Jesus God, Kagaya. Yumai. Kyojuro. Rain. Giyu. Autumn Boy. Sabito. Love. Mitsuri. Orikimuro. Obanai. Windy. Shinazugawa. Boyfriend equals demon. Kotoha. SWTW. Guys, this is flamboyantly priceless. Yumai. Mitsuri. Saving this. Michael _ Kibutsuji. Doma run. Your mum saw this and now is going to have a big talk with you. Women _ thoughts. Nani. I need to hide or she will kill me. Time skip. Inko is the only teacher because there's sudden holes in the ground for some people. Peas. Doma says hi. You all look wonderful. Now it's time for your battle training to commence. I will bring out numbers and what it will decide what team you're on. Team A. Doma and Akaza. I feel sorry for whoever fights them. Team A will be the villains against Team D. Team D. Iida and Katsuki. Mrs. Doma spoke out, can we do a hostage situation for us too? I don't think putting a bomb to get another is a bad idea. Inko thought about it and nodded. Hero team can enter. They both ran in and saw an unpleasant sight. Doma tore the heart out of a fake human. Yeg looked real. It was a woman and he looked back. You're too late here. Katsuki tried to attack him, but gets launched into the wall by Akaza, who had a smile on his face. "You can fight him later, your battle is with me," Akaza said with a smirk as he punched him into another building. Doma looked at Iida, who tried to run off and save the other hostages, but well. "Are you really running?" Doma said, walking next to him as he ran, shocking the boy. "You're disappointing. Now I see why your dad left you." Iida was confused on that, but was launched into the wall. "Now let's have fun." Blood Demon Art. Frozen Lotus. He slashes as he creates the ice shard that launches itself at Iida, who barely got out in time. He turned his head to see Akaza foot in his face. "There's two of us. Remember that one," Doma said as he appeared behind Katsuki, who tried to turn in time. Ice Breathing, 16th form, Ice Moon Darkened Storm. Akaza jumps out of the way as both are taken into a massive glacier. "Your turn, Akaza-kun." Blood Demon Art. Destructive Death, Annihilation type. He launches the powerful shockwave, destroying what Doma made and sending both boys out of the building, unconscious. "We won so easily. I want to fight Koku-sensei." Akaza nodded with Doma, as they were both disappointed in the battle they gained. "I was hoping I would fight you." "Same here," Akaza said as both walked back in disappointment. The others were shocked at this. Well, the Demon Slayers weren't. They were used to this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Now we will see you in the next video.